welcome to my channel. My name is Carla and I am the Stitchy Witch. I live in Scotland and today is Sunday. It's a very dreary looking Sunday out there, so probably a good day for recording. We didn't have any real plans to do anything today, so I thought I would come on and do a little update of all the things I have stitched over November. And I don't have a lot of things to show you. Usually I manage to work about 5 or 6 projects over the course of a month. That's more or less the amount of projects that I like, that I'm personally comfortable with over the course of a month. Otherwise I tend to feel like it just overwhelms me a little bit. But so there will sort of be repetitive things that I show you that I've showed you before and again, because I don't do like, you know, tons and tons of whips. So I kind of try to stick to a little bit of a rotation of ones that I'm trying to not necessarily get a finish on, but to get as much progress as I can, so that eventually something out of that batch will get finished, hopefully. Maybe one day in the future. So I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 to show you. And I'm also going to talk about the Heaven and Earth Designs Stitch Along SAL for 2026. Because yes, I am participating. Hooray! How could I not? So we'll talk a little bit about that. And just another couple of things that I've done, like a little bit of knitting. And I've picked up my needles recently, which is another good thing. So yeah, let's get started. So first of all, I'm going to show you not too long ago start called, what's it called? Vatican Sunset. Let me just get my tablet here. And this one I think comes in 3 sizes. I think it comes in a regular size, mini, and I chose the sort of in-between size, which is called request a size. So if you don't know what that means, it's generally that somebody has requested a certain size of that chart and Heaven and Earth Designs have charted it specifically, and then they put it on the website for other people to buy. Because I mean, why waste, you know, if they've already charted it in a certain size, they can sell it to other people. And this is how it looks. It's by, where are my glasses? Desperately need those. It's a Thomas Kincaid. I seem to forget that it's a Thomas Kincaid. That's what it will look like. For me, I absolutely adore the contrasting colours. The sky looks so lit up, as well as the Vatican City. I have been past the Vatican on a cruise, and I wish I'd had more time to see it sort of more in depth, but you know, when you go on these like coaches and things, it takes you so long to get anywhere that you end up spending 10 minutes actually seeing the thing you went to see before you're shuffled back onto a bus. So unfortunately I do think I got to hear the Pope doing a sermon, but I didn't get to see anything much. But yeah, it does look quite like that when you go. So that's Vatican Sunset, and I'm doing it on 25 count, 1/1 full cross, and I have done a lot on this one actually. Got all my notes here because I'm really organised today. I've done this month 3,004 stitches. Let me just see. I'm at 9.32%, and this is where I'm at. Take my glasses up again. So that's as far as I've got. So as you can see, I'm coming along to one end, and I started sort of on a diagonal. Let's see if I can bring it a bit closer. Try to get comfortable here. So yeah, got that moving, and I really love the way that sky is coming out. Those purples are tremendous. The shading is excellent, I think. So what I've actually worked on is when my little finger's pointing around here, and I'm trying to sort of come out a bit like that, sort of diagonally, but not on a strict diagonal line. And I'm working this one 1 over 1 full cross at the moment. But just look at that sky. It's just full of, I don't know, expression, isn't it? I really love this one. So I'm going to keep working on that. And I've actually done, so I'm nearly at 10%. So I've done 17,124 stitches. And I don't remember working on it that much, but I must have done, because I must have pulled it out quite frequently. And if you look here, you can see the peak of the top of the, whatever it's called, the Vatican building, the little peak. Gosh, I can't see what I'm doing here. There, just that little itsy bitsy top of the building there that I'm dying to get to. So I'm going to have to keep working this way. And I can't wait to get into all these contrasting lights down there. That's going to be so much fun when I get to do that. I'm also going to talk about some plans that I've got for December. I'm not going to extend my plans for next year because I can't think that far ahead. I have to go slow-mo with my plans and be gentle on myself. Okay, so that's one I did work on this month. And I put in, glasses are a pain. I put in 3,000 stitches, yeah, I already said. Okay, the second one that I worked on, only at the beginning part of the month, I didn't work on it fully for the whole entire month. But I worked on it for the first 10 days, does it say here? Yeah, about 10 days. Is my big Riverwalk chart. Let me just see how many stitches did I get done in that. I got just under 2,000 stitches in this. So it hasn't really been the focus piece this month. And I'll show you, this one's difficult to wrangle quite as much as I'd like. So I've worked on the bottom left where you can see I've got the threads still hanging and they're not inside the bobbies plastic thingy. So I worked down, and let me tell you, that confetti there is absolutely crazy because it's just flowers and greenery. See if I can bring it in a little bit more. I think I might have to move my mic out the way a little bit. So, oh, this way. Yeah. Just there on the left. Tried to get some more of that done there. And I don't think I can show you the whole thing without having to stand up and everything, but most of my videos I do show you the whole thing. The other side portion, I also worked here on the buildings a little bit. There you can see. Those buildings have come along really nice. Oh goodness, I love this chart, but it takes so long to do. It is a Haed design and it's a regular. I can get most of it in. It's not the biggest one I've seen. Obviously there are supersized max colours and all that, but even for a regular I find it's pretty big. And I decided not to keep it as a focus piece for December because I have a different plan for December, which I'll talk about when I get to it. But did I tell you how many stitches I did that I got on this one? As long as I keep it moving fairly regularly, I think I wouldn't want to put it away for like 6 months or anything like that, which I have done in the past. Because if I do that, then it's harder to bring back out. I just think, oh, you know, it's like, it's okay where it is. I'll bring it out next week or next week, and it just goes on like that. Excuse me while I have a sip. And it's just too easy to make excuses about bringing things out. So I try to keep it fairly, if not a couple of times a month, if not every week, 2 or 3 times a month. But so far I seem to have done pretty good with keeping a regular. I actually worked on it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days out of the month. There was a little portion in between the month where everything just crashed, which I'll talk a little bit more in at the end of the video. No stitching at all happened in those 4 days. So the next one I want to show you is called Purrfect Whisper. Sorry, I didn't show you what this looks like once it's finished. I think I'm a little bit all over the place today, so you'll have to excuse me. Yeah, so that's Riverwalk charm in its full glory once I finished it. The next one is Purrfect Whisper. I did work on this one, but only for 1 day. I just had to fit it in somewhere, but it wasn't my focus or anything. So this is Purrfect Whisper by Lisa Parker. I've cropped a little bit off the top because I don't want to do the entire background, and I'm going to crop just a little bit off the bottom because I don't need it really to be that long. And let me tell you, that area with all the feathers is a nightmare. So I am working the owl in 1/1 full cross on 25 count, but I'm also doing some of the background intent just because, yeah, you'd want to really. Okay, and how many stitches is getting that? Just a measly 250 stitches, but hey, it's better than nothing. Still moving. And here is where I'm at. And I worked a little bit more of the diagonal coming down on the left, and he looks so proud and majestic standing on that stub of tree, and I really think he looks great. Just the detail in that, it's pretty incredible. So he got a little stint, not a huge one, but yeah, I'm not really enjoying the stitching on these feathers because of the fact that they are like 20 or 30 different blues and silvers, and I honestly can't tell the difference between half of the lighter colours. So an occasional ninja stitch will get mown down by the colour beside it because I feel like, my God, life's too short. So if there's a really, really, really light colour and then there's another really, really light colour and they're both different symbols, I will just choose one symbol and do those two. Not all the time, just, you know, when you feel like, come on, I need to get a move on. I don't need you to be that detailed. So yes, Purrfect Whisper got a little bit of attention. Okay. And the next one that I worked on is Castle, which I did a stitch with me recently. And I don't think I have to take this one out of the hoop because I haven't done very much, but it is a restart. I did restart that one. So I'd done a little bit and then I think I did it on 22 count. Oh no, I did it on 32 count. Wasn't confident that I was going to make the whole thing in 32 count, so I just went ahead. I know a few other people are doing this one. In Stitches with Ebony is doing this one, and she's already got to the top of the, she started on the left I think and already got to the top of the turret there, and it looks amazing. So you have to go and check hers out because it looks really, really good. And I'm sort of faltering behind, coming in on the left side there. This is by Eder Rosa and it's a Stitch is So Beautiful chart, and I have done 1.40%, which is better than the less than 1% I did in my Stitch With Me, I think. Yeah, so out of 160,000 stitches, so I've still got a way to go. But the green colours that are coming in there are really lovely. So I'm coming out with my 1/1 full cross, which I am getting a lot braver about. I still don't think I'm brave enough to do complete cross country, but I'm quite happy to continue on. My only ever dilemma is whether to go right or whether to go down. That's the only thing that I usually can't make up my mind about, which is not surprising because I'm a very difficult person to make decisions. I find it really hard making decisions. But I did come down a little bit here, as you can see, so I was thinking, oh, why not? Come on, just go down a little bit. It won't kill you. Yeah, so it's quite funny. So that is a gorgeous chart, and I can't wait to get more into it. I haven't thought about any plans with this one because I feel like I haven't really got enough into it to say, oh, I should really get a goal done in December or something. I just feel like this is one that I bring out and I'm happy to stitch on it whenever I feel like stitching on it, which is basically my modus operandi for a lot of my crafts and hobbies. I just pick things up and put them down. I'm not really a spin wheel person or a gamey person, although I love watching flosstubers do that. It's just not my bag. I don't really get the pleasure out of it that I think other people do. So yeah, everyone's got their own method and ways of doing their hobbies and different things. But yeah, Castle got some work, which I'm pleased about. That came out 4 times this month for a total of 788 stitches. I don't usually like to keep track of all the stitches, but I'm kind of doing that at the moment, just to see more, which ones I'm picking up more and which ones I'm picking up less in my random way of working. Let's see what else I picked up. I also picked up a sampler called Alice in Wonderland. This is an Etsy chart. I'll show you what it looks like. So it's just one colour. I just found it delightful and I thought, oh, is that not showing properly? It's getting blown up. I thought it would be something a little bit different to all my full coverage, because I only ever do full coverage. And then there's some times where I think surely you should do something a little bit easier every so often. And that one got, I haven't written it down. Maybe I did. Yes, I did. It got 369 stitches this month, which isn't too bad. And all I basically did was continue on with the, I don't think I'll take it out of the hoop because it's more of the same. Is continue on with the border up here. So I'm almost at the end of that, and then I started another little line here, and it looks so sweet and delicate. So this is a 16 count Eder, and it's, I don't know what colour it is. It looks to me like an oatmeal, something like that. And the colour here is 3810, I believe it is. So it's very similar to the mock-up that's in the picture there. Yeah, it's just sweet and simple, and I think it'll look nice in this room because I have a lot of blues and greens and greys in this room. It's just sort of a bit of a theme. So I quite enjoyed working on this one for a little while. Although I find that when I work on it, I do tend to think, I want to get my full coverage out now, really quickly, after I've done a little bit. Because maybe it's just a bit too monotonous for me when you've got all these repeated borders. Kind of why I don't really gravitate towards samplers, because I feel like it's just the same thing over and over and over again. Like borders and leaves, that kind of thing, which I do get a little bit bored with. Okay, what else did I work on this week? I did work on, not this week, this month. I did work on Fairy Whispers, which is one that I've restarted because I just never really got the hang of enjoying it that much for whatever reason. So now I'm finally settled on my 25 count, and I did a little bit more. It'd be helping if I show you what that looks like, doesn't it? So Fairy Whispers is another Lisa Parker design. That's the finished result. I love the colours. I like the picture, but I love the colours a little bit more than the picture. The picture's cute. And I didn't realise that unicorns were the national animal of Scotland, so that really ties in quite well. And I did, not a huge amount, 475 this month, and I'm at 3.07%, which is good because I've got over the 3% now, which I hadn't for ages. So that really works. And I had a dilemma with this one where I didn't feel like I had enough fabric because I chose a cut fabric. So I added some fabric to either end for the purposes, as you can see, for the purposes of being able to put it in a Q-snap if I ever want to. Because Q-snaps do need quite a little bit of fabric on either side for you to be able to stitch on them. Let me try and get this properly. There we are. That's all I've done. So I did more of the rows down there. But I'm thinking of switching this back to the 1/1 so I can do a little bit of cross country again. Because I am actually getting a little bit bored of row by row. And I was explaining that I never, I know some people do 2 strands tent on 25 count cross country, but I find it too bulky to do cross country with 2 strands, which is why I only feel like I enjoy cross country with 1 strand, which for me would be a full cross, because a half stitch on the 25 count isn't really enough for coverage. So I'm kind of stuck, and I don't really want to go back to the 22 count hard danger because that didn't work for me. So for me it's the 1/1 is the best for cross country on 25 count, or 2 strands tent in a sort of row by row kind of way where you don't have to carry a lot of threads up and down. That's just my opinion. That's not everybody's opinion. Everyone's got a different opinion of what it feels like for them when they're working with different numbers of strands and things like that. So yeah, at the moment I've got 2 strands here, but it gets so thick, and I'm thinking of going back to cutting off 1 strand, working in the other, and going a little bit cross country like I'm doing with the other ones. So I'm getting better at the cross country thing, folks. I was scared of it for a long time. Not because I made any huge major mistakes, but just that I was too scared of making a mistake. So, like they say, be brave, little noddy. So that one came out twice, which isn't bad either. Because like I said, there was a few days in the middle of the month where I didn't stitch at all. And the last one I stitched on this month is, surprise, surprise, one which I haven't brought out for about a year. So this one went away because I got burned out and I never got an urge to pick it up again for ages and ages. So I was waiting to see if that day would happen, and it did. And I managed to get it to, I only got like, where are we? Oh yeah, I've done 1,181 stitches, and the one I'm talking about is called Sad Fairy. It's by Heaven and Earth Designs. Gosh, my light is blowing it all out. I might have to put a picture in. And I am at 64.38% in this one, and I really was thinking about trying to get it to 70% this year. But I'll talk about that in my plans. So I did this month 1,181, which isn't bad, and I've got a total of 121,681. She is worked on, let me tell you who. This chart is by, oh dear, there goes an ambulance. There's always an ambulance, no matter what time of day you record. This is by Alena, Lazareva, and it's Heaven and Earth design. And it's probably just a regular, I'd say. 525 by 360 stitches. And here she is. And I've always loved the colours in this. I love the mood, the atmosphere. I love atmosphere in pictures. I think that's what draws me in. And then that pop of colour with the stargazer lilies. I don't think she looks sad. I think she looks pensive, actually. She doesn't look sad to me. So what did I work on? I came down here. Oh, come on. I'm not doing a great job of this. And I worked... No, not this side. I worked on the other side, sorry. Gosh, this needs a good wash. It's been around for a few years. So I worked here and I came down and I finished all this flower, and I did a little bit of the, because she's kind of kneeling on a swing, so that's part of the swing, her elbow here, and more of the cuff of her dress, the white dress. I'm doing more of that here. And I'll just keep going down. As you can see on this side, I started going down with the tree and then I just didn't get any further. So I'd like to continue with that a little bit more. But I mean, all in all, I think she's looking pretty good. And she deserves a bit of attention because, like I said, she has been put away. I haven't had the urge to pick her up and work on her. And I haven't really felt guilty about it either, because I don't tend to feel guilty about not doing stuff, because I feel like it's just a hobby. And if you start to feel guilt about not stitching something, you're turning it into a chore. It becomes like work. Oh, I have to finish my work, I have to do this. So yeah, I refuse to be, led like a horse and feel guilty about stuff like that. I just think I will get back to her at some point. And if the worst thing in the world ever happened and I couldn't get back to it, so be it. Still wouldn't be the end of the world. Be disappointing, yeah, but not the end of the world. But I did want to get a bit further on her, because I did feel like she deserved a bit of attention after her long sleep. So let me talk about, first I'm going to talk about my plan, because as you know, I'm not really a plan person, but sometimes I get ideas in my head and I think it might be a good idea if I try to focus on something. So with this one in particular, that I said I was at about 64%, I worked out that I had to do a certain amount of stitches a day. I can't remember where my calculations are. Yeah, so I wrote down, if I wanted to reach 70% on Sad Fairy, I would have to do 300 stitches a day. Now, I think I've tried that before with other things, and it works fine for a couple of days, maybe even 3 or 4 days. Then after that, I start to feel like I'm bound to it, and that I'm not doing it for pleasure, that I'm just, picking it up and going, oh, I have to do 300 stitches again. The next day, oh, I have to do 300 stitches. I don't like that kind of pressure. So I don't think it's going to work, because I'm not that committed to something without feeling, bound to it. So I thought to myself, instead of making it a goal, just say to yourself, bring it out more frequently. Once a day if you can, and try to get as many stitches as you can, and just leave it loose, no pressure. So you're aware that you want to get more work on it, but you're not pressuring yourself. And I think that approach works a little bit better for my personality. I don't like anybody telling me what to do. I don't like me telling me what to do, which my husband always says is, he says, you don't even like telling yourself what to do, which is true. I don't. And that includes telling myself to do 300 a day on this. But if I leave it loosely and just say, oh, if I bring it out more frequently, I'll get closer to 70%, and we'll see what I can get done by the end of the year. That to me is more appealing and more sort of fluid than 100% committing to something that I have to do, as in a timetable and schedule kind of thing. I think that will work better for my mental, state. I think I will be more willing to pick it up every day if I feel like I don't have to. Does that make any sense? I don't know. You let me know if that makes any sense. So that, I say that's the plan, but the plan is that there's actually no plan. The plan is to have no plan, but to possibly, pick this one up more frequently. And let's hope it gets to 70%. And that's it. That's good enough. That's good enough for me. I'm not going to commit to anything. So the minute I commit, she will go into the box and she won't come out again. I'm not apologizing for that, because we all have different ways of working, and it's just one of those things that we have to be aware that this is a hobby. This is a hobby. And I kind of want to keep that fresh, rather than, you know what I'm saying. So that is the no plan. Or the plan with no plan. Yeah, whichever way it is. So that's the only thing where I thought to myself, because she's so close to 70%, maybe I should bring her out. Maybe I should bring her out a bit more. Maybe I will. And I'll come back to you at the end of December and tell you whether I got there or not. But I'm not going to force it upon myself. Because you know what December's like as well. You get to a point where Christmas starts coming and you're out, you're buying things and you're meeting people and you're doing all this stuff. And then you start to feel like you're tethered to your project. And I don't want to feel like I'm tethered. Okay, I think I've made that point there now. So now we're going to talk about the 2026 HAEDSAL, which I mentioned in my video. And I was saying that I would be repeating what I said there again here. That I have chosen to do the ship, which is called Battle, and I liked the stone cottage, and I liked the fairy tale. My husband didn't like either of those. When he says he doesn't like them, it kind of puts me off, because I feel like, why am I going to do the whole thing, put it on the wall for him to say, don't like it. I'd rather do something that both of us kind of like, and then something that we both agree on, and then I feel like it's more worthwhile putting in the effort. But I did like the ship because it did speak to me. It looked very atmospheric and moody, and I'm a very moody person, and I like things which kind of tell a story, and there's a bit of a story like in that picture. There's a battle going on, so you can say that there's a battle going on in your life as well, and you can relate to certain things. Plus I like the Tudor period, so for me it looks like an Elizabethan ship in battle. So it's got various angles of interest for me, and the colours again. Now I'm not sure about doing the 1/1 full cross country. Not sure about doing cross country, because if it's hugely confetti, I'm going to have trouble doing cross country, because I find like when there's so many colours in an area, you might as well just go stitch by stitch, because it's going to be easier than just when I try to do cross country with hundreds of colours in a little area. It gets so bulky at the back, because you're crisscrossing all those threads at the back hundreds of times. It ends up the same as using 2 strands. It gets bulky. That's why I think, right, I'll just go 1 stitch at a time, because they're all a different colour anyway. I have to rethread anyway. So I'll wait to see what the chart is like, whether it is really, really bad or whether it's blocky. And if you get large areas of block colour, then it's going to be easier to do cross country, I think. You can let me know what you think. How do you manage cross country in a hugely confetti area without, I don't know, breaking a needle, just crossing so many times here and there and everywhere? I find it tough. But yeah, it's not something to worry about now. I'll just wait and see when I get the chart, and then I'll just have a look at it and see what way I'd like to stitch it. So I'm interested in doing the 1 page. I don't think I'm that interested in doing the whole thing within a year. I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to pressure myself for any reason whatsoever. I did not finish the 2024 one that I did. I didn't do the SAL this year, so next year I'm happy to. I'm doing it for the fun and for the community, but I don't really want to put pressure on myself. So I'll definitely have a page done regardless, and I'll definitely keep going after the page is done. But yeah, I'm sticking to my no plan plans, unfortunately, because I know myself by now. It's pointless doing anything differently. I wish I could be more fun. So that's that. What else did I want to talk about? Oh yes, I wanted to show you a little bit of knitting that I don't know if I showed this one to you before or not, but I've got quite a way ahead. So I'm working this pattern comes with 2 different ways of doing it. So it's called a poncho and a shawl. I think this is the shawl version. So it's by Kincaid. It uses Kincaid yarn. So it kind of gives you a Fair Isle effect. So this is not colour changes. This is not like loads of different colours of wool. This is one ball that kind of repeats in a pattern. So it kind of ends up looking like a Fair Isle effect pattern. And it really, really does, because I can show you what the ball looks like. So you can see the silvers, the greys and the blues. It's not blue, is it? I guess it's blue. Some kind of blue. And it does work up in a lovely Fair Isle effect. So it looks more challenging, or it looks more impressive than it actually. I shouldn't be telling you that, but it looks more impressive. But really it's just knit and purl ropes. And that's as far as I've got. So it repeats. It's fairly long. So I have been working on my circular needles. I think it's beautiful colour. It would even look good as a throw, actually. But I'm not doing the shawl. I'm going to do, what's this called? The poncho, I think it's called. So I've chosen this style, which has got a rather large neck part there. And I think it's held together with a button. I don't know if it's, oh yes, I can see it. There's a button here. So the front and back are held together with a big button. And I just think it looks drapey and rather attractive. So I've got about up to here, halfway there, with my front piece. Or am I doing the back? Gosh, I'm terrible. Yeah, I think I'm doing the back. The pattern always starts with the back first usually, and then you do the front part. So basically it's like 2 big rectangles, and then I don't know whether you add that, you pick up stitches. I think you pick up stitches and you continue to do this part around the neck. But yeah, I find it really, really relaxing. And when I'm not stitching, I just like to pick it up and do a few. It's going to take me forever, but that's okay. Might be ready for next winter. But I think it's a delightful pattern. So that is what I've done. Okay, so we're all set for going into December. So like I said, December I'm going to hopefully pick out Sad Fairy a little bit more often. I do want to get more stitches into Castle because I'm really enjoying that one at the moment. And for the rest of them, I'm not really sure about. I'm not really sure about if I'm going to work on everything that I've worked on this month, or if I'm going to thin it down a little bit, try to get more stitches in just a few. I'm really enjoying Vatican Sunset as well, so I might pick out 3 just to give me more, just to make it easier to get more stitches in a few. I might pick out this one, Vatican Sunset and Castle, and concentrate more on those. That doesn't mean if I fancy doing something else I won't. I probably will, but just, you know, for an idea of what I can do. So that's what's coming. That's what I'm planning to do in December, is the no plan of whatever I like. So there isn't a lot much else to tell you. Life update. November has been up and down a little bit for me, more down than up. There was a few days where I didn't stitch because of, I'm not going to go into it because I don't think it's fair on people for me to be talking publicly about family events and things like that if they're not here to defend themselves. But yeah, there was an issue with my older son and it upset me terribly. My older son doesn't live in Scotland. He lives abroad with his family, and it wasn't a fight or anything like that, but yeah, some things came up which were quite hurtful, and it kind of, I crashed around the 12th of November, and I was trying to you know, trying to be positive because I'd had quite a few flare-ups of sciatica lately. So I tend to get sciatica flare-ups when I'm feeling a bit low or down or under the weather. And not that I stop looking after myself, I do look after myself, but when I crash emotionally, I tend to also crash physically. And I'd had a bit of a sciatica flare-up. If you don't know what sciatica is, it's a pain that you get, usually down one side of you and down your leg, can go right down to your foot. And it's like a burning, aching sensation. And I've had it on and off, more on than off, for the past year. And I've had physiotherapy, which has helped for a while. But lately it's got so bad that I've been referred again to physiotherapy. Hopefully they can help again. But during that period this month where this thing happened and I got really upset, my sciatica just flared up so bad, and it got to a point where I was literally hobbling around here. I couldn't walk. I literally couldn't walk. And it's kind of scary because when you feel like you get even a small experience of losing your independence that way, it's kind of scary. So regardless of whether I was in pain, I was still trying to do things. I was still trying to do this, trying to do the housework, trying to just, and that's not the way to go because you make it worse. So I called the doctor and she was really nice and she gave me some medication to help with the nerve pain because it is mostly nerve pain. And I've started on that, so that's a help. And as for the other thing, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to let it affect me going into Christmas because, you know, when there's a situation and you feel like there's nothing you can do to make it better, you literally need to just accept that and continue on with the family that you have and just not focus on the negative, basically. So I've just decided I'm going to do my very best to enjoy December with my family here, my younger son and my husband, and make the very best of what I have, which I'm very blessed and grateful for. When you get older, you realize that the best things that you have in life are the people that care about you. Nothing else really matters that much. So that's what November was like. Hence, I had a few days where my stitching went AWOL, but I picked it back up and I kept going forward, and I told myself, no, you're not going to go into a slump. You're not going to give up. You're not going to just crash. You've got to keep going, right? You have to keep going. So not forcing myself to stitch when I couldn't. So I had a few days where I just really couldn't. But then slowly I picked it back up and I carried on. And, you know, I'm getting moments where I'm upset, but I'm generally back on track, more or less. So it's about getting back to yourself, getting back to your values, what it is you do best, and keep going forward, because that's all we can do is keep going forward. So that was November. I'm hoping December picks up a little bit more, that my sciatica isn't going to be driving me crazy, because it can do. And I think that's all that happened in November. So it hasn't been the best month for me, but I'm going to be really positive and say December's going to be so much better. I'm going to do some more stitch with me's. So let me know what you'd like me to stitch on if I do some more stitch with me's, because I never know. So all those ones I've showed you, I'm willing to do a few stitch with me's. And get back to working on my Etsy shop, because I had to close it for a little while or go on holiday mode because of the fact that I was so upset. So I don't know what's going on there. I need to just get back into the things that I was doing, the things that I was enjoying. That's as best as I can explain. So I think that's everything, folks, and I just want to say thank you as always for your support. I know some of you have been fantastic and come to me in various messages outside of Flosstube and emails and messages just to check up and see that I'm okay, and I always appreciate that 100%. Really, really do appreciate it. And yeah, so I'm going to stay and be a positive stitchy witch for the rest of the year. So with that, I will leave you, and I look forward to coming back again with a few stitch with me's and my next Flosstube update. So until then, enjoy your stitching, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.